So we've had our theme of the immune system, and I've been looking at the immune system in a more holistic sense, not just in terms of the fighter cells in the bloodstream and in the lymph stream, but in a holistic sense, in the sense that our whole mind and our whole soul, if you like, is involved in fighting off an illness or recovering from an illness. And I think one of the things that, if we think about it, we can find out about an illness is that it always, very often, it represents a learning step. We have to learn something new. So, for example, I was just thinking about this. I know for myself, if I get a sore throat, for example, it will go on and on and on until I suddenly realize, oh, you've been doing such and such, and you need to just let go, and you need to sort of calm down and relax a bit more, or find your center a bit more. And the minute I found that little key to what it is I need to learn, then the illness will start getting better. So I think we can look at the immune system as being very closely connected with this idea, this aspect of learning something new. But very often it can be difficult to do that because we're in our old patterns. We do things in a certain way, and it's difficult to let go of those patterns and find new ways of doing things. And this is something that we can learn from yoga. Obviously, we've looked at ways in which the actual positions of the yoga can help the energy to flow, and that can help us to recover. But there's an inner step. There's a step of letting go of our old habits and doing something in a completely new way. And if we can learn that actual step, that can also give us a key, we could say, soul learning step, an inner learning step that can help us in this process of fighting off an illness. So that's our theme for today. We're going to do some positions that are that involve us doing things in a way that is not fixed in old habits, but involves us to kind of leap into a new way of doing something. This one we have done before, but it's still got this aspect of kind of leaping into something a bit unknown. And it's this one where you take your hand out, and then with your foot, you leap right up. So hand. Make sure your hand is, you look at where your hand is, and then kick right up. It's good if you set yourself a target that's a little bit out of your reach, so you have to go a little bit further. And the thing is to avoid taking the hand down, but to really keep that hand there. So you need to look, know exactly where that hand is, relax your breathing, and then with your clear idea, right up. You can do it with the other hand. Just make sure you're bringing your hand down. Check exactly where it is. So one of the things we can learn from this is, in terms of moving into something new, we need to know exactly where it is we want to go. If we want to take a new step out of a familiar pattern into something new, we need a very clear mental picture. Try your hand, if you managed it last time, try taking, if your hand was at shoulder height and you managed that, then take it up a little bit higher, maybe to eye height or forehead height or something. If you need to stay at shoulder height, then that's fine. Look exactly where your hand is, know exactly where you're going with your leg, and then right up. Okay, and the other side, and right up. Okay, and then a few fast ones to really get ourselves moving. So you can keep taking your hand higher, and we're just going to continue. We're doing quite a few of these now, so you can really just get your legs moving, get your breath flowing, and really get that feeling of taking hold of your will and kicking your leg up as high as you can. Okay. You can enjoy this. Really swinging up your legs, getting the energy moving in the morning. Okay. Oh, well done. That looked good, Nikki. You're doing lots on one side. That looked really good. So let's try that. 5 times on each side. Okay. Good. Okay. We'll come to another exercise. This is the earth. And it starts with a complete letting go of the upper body. I'll just show you very briefly, but we're going to hold this for a long time. You're familiar with this. We're going to hold it for a long time so that we completely let go. And when we come up, it'll then be as if completely new into that position. So come down like this. And we're going to really observe during this holding time, feet on the ground, the legs firm, the upper body relaxed. Be aware of the breath. Neck relaxed. The shoulders and the arms and the hands relaxed. And the head and the face. So now, in just a dynamic swing, swing right up high into this new open position. Good lifting of the rib cage and streaming right up. And come back down again with the arms. I'm going to do this a couple more times. So with the long holding, what we do is we become aware of the body. We start to observe the body as if it's an object, as if it's, we don't identify ourselves with it anymore, but we start to observe the body as if it's an object. This process of not identifying helps us to let go, so that when we come up, it's as if it's a completely new beginning. We're freer to grow in a new way. So let's do it once again. The feet and the legs really firm. We start to observe the body, especially the upper body, in an objective way. Observe your abdomen and your lower back, and just feel the movement of your breath wherever you can feel it. Maybe in your ribs. Be aware of the upper part of your spine stretching gently. Shoulders are relaxed. Be aware of the arms and hands. The neck. The head and the face. Just observing. The body is a hanging object. So now we just keep the legs firm, not locked, but firm. And with the upper body, swing freely back up, right the way up high. Now you can experience yourself as really open, lifting the rib cage, streaming up through the upper spine, continuing to stream up through the arms, right into this new open position. You can experience yourself looking out at the world around you. A new beginning. And take the hands down. We'll do that one more time. I'll just give you another thought. And this is that when we're hanging down, The body is like a dead weight. And when we come up, it's like the shooting growth of the spring shoots that sprout upwards. You can have those two images. Come forwards again. Legs are stable. The body hangs, the upper body. We can just think to ourselves, this upper body is like a dead weight. Just observe the breath. Imagine it has no life of its own. Everything old, we let go. And now we can just think about this movement upwards, how we're going to spring up. Just think about it first. We're going to spring up like a sprouting spring shoot. And when you're ready, a very free light movement right way up into the new, sprouting upwards into that new growth, a good active stretching right through the spine. And take the hands down. So we're going to come to the standing splits. First of all, I'd like you to just raise one arm and take your attention to this rib cage area, which will be the start of the growth of this arm. So we don't imagine it starting at the shoulder, we imagine it starting right down here, the region of the solar plexus. And just think of a vertical line. So your arm rises right up, it makes a vertical line. You can't see the top of my hand, but never mind. The other side. Just really bring that into your awareness, a clear picture from the rib cage up through the arm, a vertical line. Okay, so the important thing when we come to the standing splits is to keep this sense of vertical growth. Let's just take one foot up now. You can take, if you take your hand around the outside of your foot, not the inside in there, but the outside. And once again, then lift up. So now we have to lift up from the pelvis, and we can continue through into this rib cage area so that the whole body is lifted up more into this vertical line. Let's try it just like this with the leg up. Really tall. Okay, come back down again. If you're feeling a bit wobbly, listen to the breath. Let's just pause so that anyone who's feeling wobbly can just calmly listen to the breath, because that always brings us more of a calmness. It helps the mind. The body wobbles if the mind is wobbling. So to just listen to the breath can bring that calmer focus. Always keep the breath free during the exercise. So our thought is that we want to keep that lift, that vertical line upwards. Just take the one foot and come back to this thought from the base, from the pelvis, rising up with the rib cage, up through the body, a good active growth. Keep the breath free. Okay, come back again. Right, we'll do the same thing, and this time we'll just keep the leg down, holding the foot in the same way, but the opposite arm we're going to move up so that we get that sense again of a lift, of a growth. So take the first foot, We can start by thinking of this growth that comes from the pelvis, up through the rib cage, and continues up through the arms, so we can really stream up high, thinking of that vertical line, breath flowing. Back down again, free breath. Take the foot up from the pelvis, this lift, this vertical lift of the rib cage, streaming up through the arm. Okay, and come back down again. So the standing splits is a position where we rise right up high. So in terms of our theme for today, this kind of letting go of old habits and moving into the new, I think old habits very much, we can become a bit fixed in this position. We can think, oh, I can't do this, I'm going to get stuck, and we feel very heavy and wobbly and we feel very stiff and fixed. How can we break out of that fixedness and sprout up like that new shoot into something new? One thing is not to hold on too tight, not to fix with your hand. This fixed habit tends to make us pull the leg in. If you can loosen your hand grip a bit more and think that you're going to take your strength right from your leg and come right up from the base, but not too much pulling with the hand, but really to move up from that base right the way up into the new. So, and take the foot just loosely. Think of the power coming from the base. Come right the way up. Doesn't matter if your leg doesn't come completely straight, but the important thing is that you think of this movement right up into the height. Keep breathing. Okay, come back down again. Free breath. Think about it first. We're taking a new step, so we have to know what that step is. We have to have a clear idea of it, otherwise we'll do it according to our old habits. Take the foot lightly, not too fixed away. Think of the start of the movement from the pelvis, moving up through the leg, through the rib cage, right the way up high. Keep growing. Right up high into the new. And come back down again. Okay. Let's come now. Can you lie down on your fronts? We're going to do the locust. Should be about right. So with the locust, we have an unusual direction of movement. We take the movement, well, we're going to work from this part of the back, from the sacrum. We're taking the movement backwards through the leg. Normally when we stand up, we're rising upwards. This time we're going downwards through the leg. The hand position, we'll start with the half locust. The hand position is like this. You can take the hands right under your body. And for the half locust, you can actually bend one knee a little bit. You could put your toes on the ground like this, so you've got a bit of support. And we can push this leg right up behind.
movement, you can see it comes from a contraction in here that moves backwards through the leg. So your hands should be underneath your body. Yeah, you should be lying right on top of your arms. Arms as straight as possible, the front of your elbows on the floor ideally. Okay, have a few goes on each side. From your sacrum, you push up backwards through one leg and see if you can build up that movement, that it really is moving out backwards. Keep the breath flowing. Just try it a few times on your own time, just changing from side to side. But give it long enough that you can really work at it, work at really growing upwards. And one thing you can be aware of when you do this also is your chest. Try not to fix the shoulder area too much, but if you let the shoulders relax a bit, then the chest can press down onto the floor a bit more. So movement comes from the sacrum back through the leg, but the chest also should be allowed to find its way down. Okay, just relax again. And now you can mentally prepare for the locust with both legs. The locust is a symbol for independence, independence from our old habits. So it means we need to take quite a leap up into this unfamiliar direction backwards with the legs. And we need to picture first very clearly where we're going. So you can take picture it first, just lying on the ground, free breath. Movement comes from your sacrum backwards. And when you're ready, you thrust right up. And come back down again. So if it's totally impossible for you to do it with both legs, then you can practice again with single legs. The thing to work on is to really build up the ability to have this contraction, this strong contraction down here in the sacrum. There should almost feel like there's a tightening of those muscles at the very base of the spine. And then the thrust continues back through the legs. Let's do it once again. Think about it first. Free breath. Picture that contraction at the sacrum, shooting back then through the legs. And come back down again. And just push into child's pose. And come back down. Lie on your front. And come into the Cobra. When we do the Cobra, we're going to focus on the slightly higher part of the back, the solar plexus region. Keep your awareness there. Keep breathing. Don't push too much with the hands, but more be aware of that solar plexus region. And come up. Light support with your hands. Stay aware that in that solar plexus region, we can actually take hold of our own activity to stretch. Let's come back down again. So don't come up too little with the Cobra. Don't come up just like this, because you're not really giving yourself the opportunity to activate that area. In terms of a new learning step, we want to say that we actually have the ability to do something with that spine. We don't need to just be reliant on the arms. We have the ability to work to find new muscles maybe that we've not been able to use before, but they are there. And we want to find a new ability to take control of those muscles ourselves. So when you come up, you can push a little with your arms so that you're able to come up a bit higher, because at this height it's easier to actually then do something with those muscles and your rib cage area, to really use them to push your chest forwards. Yeah, much better. Much better. Great. Much better. Okay, come back down again. Just have a little pause. That's while you're having this pause, again, you can do the mental work where you think about those muscles and you make that decision that those are the muscles that we can actually use. Even if we've not been able to before, there's always the possibility to learn something new. Keep the breath flowing. And come right the way up. And now from that middle of your back, you can grow and you can open. You can really direct the chest forwards. Keep breathing in an active way. You can push those muscles forwards. And come back down again. And let's push back once again into child's pose. Come back up to a sitting position. So we'll just finish off by reminding ourselves of the theme from this morning, the idea that our immune system will respond to the ability to let go of old fixed habits and move into a new way of doing something. The immune system needs us to make new learning steps, because illness is all part of a whole growing process in life. That's the more holistic view. We let go of something old, we learn something new, and that can help our immune system.